Hello everyone, I hope you have enjoyed this video. My name is Sarah and I'm gonna do a my book wrap up for the month of March because March is over, it's now April, it's the 3rd of April at the moment, and holy shit, the year goes by so freaking fast. It's almost my birthday, which I honestly cannot even fathom because wow, again, it goes so freaking fast. So yeah, these are the books that I read in March. I read 8 books. Officially, if you're looking at my Goodreads, I read 9 books, but one of them was like a novella of 10 pages. But I still added that to my Goodreads goal because, you know, it's still a book in another book. But anyways, I feel like I had a pretty good month. I didn't have any low star ratings, I think. The book that I rated the lowest was actually 3.25, so that's not too bad. Very glad with the amount and with the books I read. So let's just get into it. The first book that I finished in March, because I started it in February, but I didn't finish it. I finished it the 1st of March, was A Diary of Blood. This had been on my TBR since March of last year, I think. So it was high time to get it off the TBR, and I did, and I'm very glad that I did because I really, really enjoyed this book, and I was so surprised by it because I was, okay, I'm just gonna try it out. I was just, like, suddenly I was like, should I read that book? I'm gonna read that book. And I was kind of apprehensive about it, but then I read it, and it was so freaking good. I gave it 4.25 stars, which is really high. This is about Dracula's bride. Basically, we don't get Dracula's like name. He is only referenced as you because these are notes to Dracula. And I was kind of, again, apprehensive of reading this book because it is notes to Dracula, and I was like, maybe this will get boring. This really followed the story and the events in all these diary notes, and it was very clear what the story was about, and didn't feel like diary formatting at all, except for when this girl, I don't remember, Constance, whatever. It only felt that way when she referenced Dracula as you, because she was talking to him in these diary notes. But it was a very interesting story. I was very intrigued by it. It was really addictive as well. I really enjoyed the writing style, and I just overall really, really fucking loved it. And then the little novella that I read was from this book. It was the last few pages of this book, An Encore of Roses. Was that the name? Yes, that's the name. I gave it 4 stars because it's a novella. It's like 14 pages long. And I really enjoyed it. It did add something to the story, but it also left me more confused, I guess, and kind of not sad, but disappointed. Overall, it did have a satisfying ending, and an ending that fit, in my opinion. Then the next book that I read was Collided by Lauren Asher. I do have the physical copy, but it's at my mom's, and I'm currently at my dad's. This book was a 3.75, which isn't that good, but isn't bad at all either. I really enjoyed it, but some parts were just pretty cringy to me, and when I wanted to give it 4 stars, but then I really thought about it, and I was like, did I enjoy it enough to give it 4 stars? And the answer to that was no, so I didn't end up rating it 4 stars. I really enjoyed the characters, but when Liam and Sophie were talking about the stars, I don't know, it just felt kind of unnecessary, and it felt so freaking cringy. Like, I'm not reading an astrology book, I'm reading a romance. Like, it's fun, but it has to be realistic, and this just felt so freaking cringy, and it was such a small part of the book. I don't know what it was, but it was such a small part, and then they kind of just talked about it a lot and acted like it was such a crucial part to the story, which it was not. That annoyed me, and that's basically the only complaint that I have. Like, that was really cringy to me. If you like that, okay, but not for me. I am continuing the series. I think I'm gonna start Wreck, the 3rd book in the series, today, so I'm really excited about that. Then I read The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. Also have bought the 7-year slip since I read this book. I was being responsible for once. I read this book, after I enjoyed it, I bought the 7-year slip. I ended up rating this 4 stars, but I think if I reread it, it has the potential to be 5 stars because I really did enjoy it. But I feel like I can enjoy it even more if I already know some plot points and stuff, and I can more focus on the characters, on how the story flows and stuff. This was such an interesting concept. It's magical realism. This girl, Florence, she's a ghostwriter for this really famous author. She got asked by her if she wanted to ghostwrite for her. She was like, yes, of course. Then she gets a new editor, because I'm not sure, but she gets a new editor. He's hot. The editor comes to that house as a freaking ghost. As a ghost. He's a freaking ghost. Now, Florence is trying to figure out how that editor died. Oh, Benji, that was his name, Benji. It feels weird referencing him as the editor. Well, he has a name. But it was such an interesting book. I really, really enjoyed it. It dealt with grief, and the ending wasn't surprising to me. I haven't actually heard anyone talk about the fact that the plot twist was really twisty, you know? But to me, I predicted it like the second that it got introduced that he was a ghost. Like, I was like, okay, this is gonna happen. And that happened. So I was not surprised at all, but that didn't take away how much I enjoyed this book. So 4 stars for now. After that book, I read Indigo Ridge by Daphne Perry. This was interesting because it focused on the romance and mystery. Like, the plots were mystery and romance, I think. But somehow it didn't concentrate on both of those enough for me to fully enjoy this book. I gave it 3.25 stars. It was a fine book, honestly. Like, I enjoyed it just fine. Like, it wasn't 3 stars. It was a little higher. I just thought this could be more, and I'm not sure if that will be more in the next book in the series, but I do own the next book and the 3rd book and the 4th book. Anyways, this one was kind of disappointing because I had really, really freaking high hopes, but it just didn't hit. After Indigo Ridge, I read another romance, To Love Jason Thorne by Ella Mace. I own not every single Ella Mace book, but her popular ones. I own every single one of them. This is the first book by her that I've read, and I ended up rating it 3.25 stars, but like a high 3.25 stars. But I felt like I couldn't rate it anything more because it flowed really easily. Like, I got through this in a split second. Like, but I didn't really enjoy the male character. Like, I enjoyed him just fine, but he wasn't anything special. Kind of annoyed me at some parts. 3.25 feels like a solid rating for this book, but I am definitely excited to read more Ella Mae's books, so I'm glad of that because I do own a lot of her books. This is another book that I have but don't have the physical copy of, but do have the physical copy, but not with me right now because it's at my mom's. It's Pecking Wild by Emily Rath. This is the 2nd book in the Jacksonville Ray series. Yes, I got it right. I really enjoyed the 1st book. I gave it 4 stars, and I gave this book 4 stars too. It was a little bit too long for my liking. I felt like it could have been shorter. It moved very slowly, and it could have been like 200, maybe that's exaggerating, but like 150 pages less. That didn't take away the enjoyment of it. It's about Ryan, and oh my god, I forgot her fucking name. I remember that she's a redhead, but I don't remember her name. Tess! Her name was Tess. Tess, I really liked her in Pucking Around. She was such a badass character, and I still felt like she was that in this book, but we also got to see some of her insecurities, some of her, don't want to say weaknesses, but yeah, insecurity. Let's just keep it at that. I really enjoyed that. It had a lot more depth than I was expecting, honestly, and overall, it was a fine book. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, so. And then the only ebook that I read, Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. This is the 2nd book in the Rebel Blue Ranked series. This was such a fun read. I was like addicted. I was like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and I was just so entertained by it. But I expected that because I really enjoyed Done and Dusted. But maybe this, for enjoyment and for addictiveness, this is higher than Done and Dusted. This is about Ada. Was her name Ada? Her name was Ada. And his name is Weston. Honestly, Weston was such a cutie. Sometimes I didn't feel like Ada really deserved West. I don't want to say annoyed, but I noticed it. So let's just keep it at that. Overall, it was a really entertaining book. Really loved it. Also, the covers for these books, amazing. I'm so excited for the 3rd book because it's an enemies to lovers. He's a single dad. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Okay, yeah. And we have already arrived at the last book, which is Where's Molly by H.E. Carlton. I read Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline previously. I think I read it in January, I think, or February. Like, the first one, January, definitely, but the second one, also January? I don't know. Doesn't matter, but I really enjoyed those. Oh, I thought there was a spider on my wall. I was about to scream. I really enjoyed those. I gave Haunting Adeline 4.25 and Hunting Adeline 4 stars. And I ended up giving Where's Molly 4.25 stars. Oh my god, I really enjoyed it. It was kind of like a sad story. It didn't make me cry, but it made me feel sad for Molly, what she went through. And honestly, she's badass. She owns a pig farm and she feeds human remains to those pigs. What a baddie, you know? I would recommend to read Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline before, because there are some crucial parts of information that you're missing if you're not reading those before. But if you're really not interested, I'm sure someone has like, what's it called? Like explaining the story a little bit. So maybe that makes it more clear. I don't know. I really enjoyed this. Would definitely recommend if you like dark romance, because it is a darker romance. Really enjoyed both of the characters, especially Molly. Molly was such a baddie. Like, loved her. Those were all the books that I read in March. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really glad with my reading month again, as I said before. And I'm just about to read another book by Lauren Asher because I'm so excited to read more Lauren Asher. Oh my god. And that's all the information that you need from me right now. Hope I'll see you in my next video. See you later. Bye bye.